Hey guys, hope you're all okay. I thought before we put the video out there to what we experienced today, maybe it's important to mention a bit more about us in what we're comparing the car to, what we've had before in the past. So Ferrari 360s, Audi R8, Porsche 911s, we've had Boxers, Caymans, Lotus Exige, Lotus Evoras, we've got American V8 stuff, old classic cars, JDM stuff, got the Super there, all sorts of bits and bobs we've had. I've done it for 20 years, I've had hundreds of different cars. So I thought, you know what, we'll order this car, we'll know what we're doing, we'll just turn up and we'll be happy with it, and then when it comes, it will be fine. But it turns out that the car we experienced today is going to make us change the order form to what we're actually going to have in a couple of months' time. And maybe that's something that we should put out there. As our YouTube channel is quite small, then maybe we should mention a bit more about what we've had before and what we're experiencing it to, so we're not just a random person just saying, oh, it should be this, should be that. It's a direct comparative to a whole vast variety of cars, and it might just help you make your decision too, and the need to go out and test drive one and make sure you get it right before you do take delivery. But this is what happened today.
So good afternoon. Today's quite a special one because we are on the way to Lotus Silverstone. At last we're going to get our hands on an Emira. I have sat in one and seen one before, pretty much actually the same spec that we're going to buy, but this is the first time we get to take one out on the road and see what it's like. I'm not sure what they're going to have, what specs they're going to have, if they're going to have both chassis options available or just the one, we don't know until we get there. But we're going to go and take it for a spin and see what it's like. There we are, Lotus Silverstone. Have a look at that. Looks very elegant in red, doesn't it? Lotus and Caterham together.
So here we are, this is an Emira. This is in magma red with Silverstone interior. Ours will be slightly different, it will be yellow with the black pack and have the yellow and Alcantara inserts, but look how pretty it is sat here. I've been out in it and it is the best car I've driven for a long time. I dare say it is better than anything I've driven from the Prancing Horse anytime recently, purely because it's usable. You can use the power in this all the time. It's the best handling car I've ever driven, and it is like driving a modern 360. I know that sounds really crazy, but it is. It's just a great thing to drive. You get power is usable all the time. It's so responsive, so quick. But yeah, it's lovely. What a machine. I'll show you inside really quickly before we go, so you can see. So full silver in here. Obviously ours will be grey now, black and Alcantara, but this is the full leather pack. As you can see, it's not wearing well already. They don't with the white seats, but it will be slightly different. Full spec in first edition, so it's got a cruise and all the extras on here. Pop-up screen there, obviously power start, all the electrics and add-ons come standard with the first. The base is a base model and you add it all to it basically, but a fully spec base will be a similar price to the first edition. This one's a touring spec, so it's got the slightly softer chassis. It does need a sport chassis. I've driven it in both modes, and to be honest, it's a little bit stodgy. So we will change our spec to sport, I think. But yeah, what a car.
So what was it like? Well, it's such a shame I didn't take the camera in the car with me, but I did feel a bit awkward with a guy from Lotus sat next to me while filming. I thought I best not do that in case it feels too awkward, so I didn't bother. But as a consumer and a sports car and supercar fan and things like that, it was fantastic. I mean, I've driven all the big cars from Maranello, from Ferrari, and I know people have different opinions around the world, but in the UK, that was the perfect car that we need in this country. It was just round the back street, round the back lanes and the country lanes. If you want a car to handle and do everything for you, that was the best car for that I've ever come across. It's very well built, very well engineered. The power delivery was superb. The brakes on it are unbelievable. I know that, and they're only steel, they're not ceramic brakes on that, but you wouldn't want them on it because they are superb. Loads of feel, and they are instantly reactive. So you tap the brake and it'll stop on a pin. It was superb. The steering's hydraulic, but when it's stationary, it's really heavy. And I know that's really how a car should react, because it should lighten up as you go around the bends and things. So I'm not too sure how they managed to achieve that, because it does lighten up substantially as you drive along, which obviously from when it's really heavy when it's stationary, but it's not electrically assisted. So don't know how they managed to do that, but it works, and it works really well. It is so pinpoint around the country lanes. It feels so planted. It felt like you could drive it as flat out everywhere, and it will go around every bend that it came across. It gave you so much confidence. It doesn't need any more power than it has, and that's the biggest thing with cars like that, is they make you feel like a racing driver. They make you feel that you are part of something. It doesn't drive itself for you. It has no electrical aids for upshifting, downshifting, no rev matching and things like that. It's all down to the driver to do, and that is what driving a car should be all about. I don't really understand why you would buy an automatic one with a 2 litre in it. I mean, I'm open to suggestions on it, but it's a proper car. It's got a manual shifter, which is pretty much the best manual gearbox I've ever come across. You know, the other ones, the manual Ferrari gated ones, are superb, as they've always been, and so is the one in the S2000, believe it or not. That's one of the best other manual gearboxes around, but that one is better than all of them. It's the best manual box I've ever come across. The shift in it is absolutely superb, very short, very precise. You can heel and toe down the gears, rev matches itself perfectly. Sorry, you can make it rev match perfectly, so downshifting. It feels so well balanced. The suspension is ideal, although, like I said, that was a touring. I think it really needs to be a sport. I know people have said different things about if you're going to go on track with them, buy a sport. If you're going to use it every day, buy a touring. But if you're used to Lotuses, I know Lotus are trying to get different people to come away from Porsches and away from whatever else into the market, but I think sport would be better. So I've had it in sport and in touring with the touring chassis, and even in sport it felt a little bit wallowy, more so on the main roads and things, and around the bends, around the bends and twisters. It's obviously got a slightly adaptive suspension in that it's got stiffer dampers and things when you go around the bends when you put it in sport, and it was actually felt quite good around the bends. But on the flats and the straight and narrows, it felt a little bit un-Lotusy, a little bit wallowy, which I think with the sport chassis, and you could run it obviously in comfort or touring mode if you had a sport chassis. I think a sport chassis, and then you've got the option of going full sport with the settings if you wanted to, so then it will become a track, you know, it's more of a track weapon. But I think especially if you're used to Lotuses, I think you would say you need a sport chassis in it, which is, I don't think I would do. Coming from all sorts of different cars, I've had Evoras and things before, but I thought I'd be quite happy with it with a touring chassis. But after driving that, I think the majority of people would want a sport chassis. The other thing I wanted to mention was the power delivery. Because it's got the supercharger on the one I've driven and the manual box, the power delivery is consistent for the whole rev range. There's no lag or anything like that, or doesn't feel like anything's dropping off halfway up the rev range like you get with some turbochargers. It's consistent the whole way through, and that is what's key to a lightweight sports car, is the NA feel of power the whole way through, so you can use its power all of the time without it dropping off left, right and centre. So that is the perfect setup for that, and I don't really know why you'd change that. I mean, it'd be a shame if they have to get rid of that engine and just run it on the 2 litre, because it suits it superb, and it gives it the closest feel to an NA engine without having an NA engine. The interior is so well built. All the equipment is very fingertips, so you can get to all the controls and things nice and easily. Very, very well built. That one had the silver interior, which, as you can see, had already started to wear on the bolster on the right hand side. That's going to be a running trait with them. Any car that has that interior that's got slightly sport seats will wear on that bolster. So we've opted for half leather Alcantara in black, so it won't wear as badly. But on the whole, one of the best cars I've driven for a long time. Outright pace, obviously you can do much better. There are other cars out there that would destroy it in a straight line, but that's not what that car's about. It's not what Lotus have ever been about. They've never been about straight line performance. They've always been about handling. And the most important thing is, even though that's a completely new built, new design car, it's not based on anything else. It's not got an old. It's a completely new car. It's not lost the Lotus magic that they're built on. They've not built it for anybody else, and not built it necessarily, you know, for any other different kind of customer. They built it for their Lotus customer. they've held on to that, and that's what makes it so special. So yeah, I hope that video has helped. Please like and subscribe for more videos to come in the future. Again, bye bye.